Hey guys, so it's me, and today I kind of wanted to talk about as many things as possible as I can about dread extensions in one video, because I kind of want to pull it all together into one good source so I can refer people here and people can get informed about dread extensions. Now, I see a lot of terrible things done with dread extensions that make me scream, why, oh why are you doing this to your hair? Sometimes people do terrifying things to their dreads that don't make much sense because they are not informed. So this video is going to try to inform you basically what to do and what not to do, and how to do it and how not to do it, and where to get the supplies, and yeah, so I'm going to try to cover that. So first off, I want to give a little short tidbit about folks with type 3C and type 4 hair. Type 3C is tight coils, and type 4 is kinky or zigzaggy hair, or, you know, commonly afro textured hair. So for you folks, I don't know a whole lot about extensions, but I do know what you should not do to your hair. First off, I want to link you to my favorite loctician on YouTube, Damian Walter. I'll put that here or down there or something. He has a really nice method for adding lock extensions, and what he does is he buys actual human hair in a kinky coily texture. He'll take the lock and I think texture it or something, and then he takes this human kinky coily hair and he wraps it around in succession tightly so it stays, and it will eventually lock, and you'll have a nice beautiful permanent extension that's not heavy, that's going to look natural and look great, and he's wonderful. So I'll try to dig that video up and link it. And that's the method that I think most folks with your type hair should be using. The things that I've seen that have been horrible, that make me scream and cry, like, oh, no, please don't do that, are other extension methods I've seen on people's locks. Because I feel so bad because people go in misinformed and then they get just, like, weird shit done to their hair. Basically the method that I typically see for adding a lock extension is that they'll braid your hair down to a certain length, they'll leave a little bit of hair loose at the end, like a little poof of hair, and then they put glue or silicone glue or some horrible sticky substance onto the braid, and then they'll start wrapping synthetic hair really thick around the lock, and the thickness is going to look cool for all of about, you know, a month until your roots start growing out, and you're going to have this big ol' synthetic thick lock with a thin little root coming out, and it's just, it's not good. One, it's not going to look nice in the near future. Two, it puts glue in your hair, and three, it uses synthetic hair, and synthetic hair is a lot heavier than natural human hair. So it's going to put more tension on your scalp. It might lead you to lose a few locks or experience some kind of hair loss from the tension, and that's not something you want to do. So, you know, do your homework, do your research, don't let bitches put glue in your hair, because just, oh my god, please don't let people put glue or honey or mayo in your hair. Anyone listening. Ever. But yeah, that's all I really have to say in regards to folks with type 3C and type 4 hair, because I am not an expert with these hair types, because it's not on my head. I don't know very much. I do know a fair bit, though. I've done my research. So on to the other hair types, which are type 1, straight, type 2, wavy, type 3A and 3B, curly. Now, for the rest of you guys, you can take most of my advice, because my advice will apply to all your different hair types. For the most part. Should apply to everyone for the most part. So first off, let's see. When can you add extensions to your dreads? Well, you may be thinking, gosh, I can't wait to make my little chin-length hair into dreads and then extend it the same day and have, like, butt-length dreads overnight. That shit ain't gonna happen. It's just not, okay? That's not how it works. First off, when you get baby dreads, regardless of the length, they're gonna look silly for these hair textures. They're gonna be poofy, they're gonna stick straight up, even if your hair is down to your butt when you make them. They're gonna look silly, especially if you set them up right. They're gonna stick up. There's no avoiding the silly phase. It's just a thing that we deal with. So with that said, why can't you add extensions to your dreads that quickly? Well, for one, when you make fresh dreads, they're usually not sturdy enough to hold a dread extension in. The dread extension might put tension on the hair, it might prevent it from locking by adding too much weight at the very beginning, it might create an array of problems, so you shouldn't do it right away. You just need to leave your baby dreads alone to grow, mature, and tighten for a little while. And the reason I say you should do it at about 3 to 4 months is because at that point, your dreads should be tight enough that they can withstand heavy washing, that they can withstand holding an extension, they can withstand a few things. They're a little tight, but they're not so tight that you have to, you know, really work hard to get the extension woven into your dread. I don't recommend adding extensions for folks with dreads that are older than 1 year. I haven't tried it, but you know, on really tight, mature dreads, it's going to be hard to stick a crochet hook in, and it might actually damage your hair. So at 3 months, they're just spongy enough to allow you to do this. At a year, they're probably a little bit too tight. And fresh, they're way too loose. So don't mess with your baby dreads. You may think, oh no, I don't want to look silly with short dreads. Well, you can't handle looking silly with your dreads for a little while, maybe dreads aren't actually for you. And I don't say this as an insult, because it's totally not. Some people just can't stand to have messy hair, like I can't stand to have really long hairy armpits, so I shave them. Some people can't stand to have, you know, messy hair, so they don't want it, and that's fine. And synthetic dreads are a really great way to have long, cool looking dreads in whatever color you want. You can make them spiral textured, you can make them natural textured, and you keep them for 1 to 3 months. It's a great protective style because you're leaving your hair alone and free from heat, styling tools, and chemicals for 3 months, so your hair is going to stay healthy. That's a good option for you. Still want real dreads and real extensions, not real, but you know, real dreads. Synthetic dreads aren't like bad in any way. I'm not saying they're bad, but if you want to have real dreads, that's good too. Now you may be saying, well, how do I put them in? Well, I have two video methods that I've made, and I'll try to include a few more if I find some more along the way that are good. The first method is where you take you dread the extension. You get hair on a weft, which is one of these things. It's all sewn on a long string, and then you dread it, and then you flip the dread upside down. You weave this hair up into your dread and back down, and you weave your dread hair up and down into the extension. They're woven together. They'll be tight in, and you won't be able to pull them out. You can undo them eventually, but you won't be able to pull them out with regular wear, which is great. That's the method I like to use. Another method some people do is they just dread this. They snip a little bit of their dread off, so it's a little more blunt on the tip, unravel a little bit of this, snip this off, and just put them together and crochet hook the piss out of them so they'll stick together. The issue with that method is that if you pull hard enough a few times, your dread's going to fall out. Your dreads will one of them is eventually going to fall out when you're walking in a crowded hallway, and it'll be embarrassing. Like, that's what'll happen with that method. It's not a bad method, it's a faster method, but it's not as sturdy in my opinion and experience. So I'll link both of those methods down below so you can see what they're like, make a decision for yourself. I learned the first one and modified it a bit from 2SVJ7. She was my dreadspiration. She's amazing, and her YouTube channel is cool, so check it out. So there's a few methods. There's probably more methods out there, like some people will sew in their extensions. I don't agree with sewing in extensions, only because when I sewed my extensions a bit, the thread caused my extension and my dread hair at the junction where they met to start looping and bending and warping in an odd way. I didn't allow them to mature for a long enough time to see if that would go away, but it does kind of cause some warping. You can try it. I've seen Dr. Lock's YouTube channel do a nice version of that, where they take a nice thick dread, sew it into another nice thick dread, and it comes out nice looking, but I don't think that it's a good long-term way to add extensions. My favorite way is the upside down method, and that's the way I'm going to stick to, but feel free to do whichever one you think fits you best, because I'm sure each one has enough pros and cons for each person to choose all three of them at some point. Let's see. Another thing you might be wondering is, where on earth do I get the hair that I'm going to put in my hair? And what kind of hair do I use? First off, there's synthetic hair and there's real human hair. Synthetic hair is cool because you can texturize it just like real hair. It'll bend to your will. It comes in all kinds of colors. It comes in any color you can probably imagine, which is really nice. You can wrap it into different colors if you have fancy techniques. You make multicolored ones. It looks great. It's very cheap. It's like anywhere from $1.70 for a huge bag of synthetic hair, jumbo braid, Kanekalon, however you say that. Like $1.50 to like $7 for an entire huge bag of the hair. Awesome. But the downsides of it are that it's heavier than human hair. So if you add a really long extension to your dread, it might actually cause a little bit of tension. It might cause some weight on your scalp issues, and dreads get heavy when they're wet. It sucks sometimes. But the synthetic extensions are heavy, and the other downside of them is that you cannot dye them like you would normal hair. The color you put in is the color you're stuck with, and if you're like me and want to color your hair different colors, synthetic extensions might be a little drawback for you. Unless you want to switch them all out to a new color, which, I mean, bless you if you want to. I don't believe in God. But, yeah, it takes a long time to do that. Now, human hair. My human hair. God knows I've spent a lot of money on this crap, and a lot of other people have done it too. For one pack of human hair that's about 14 inches, which it should be enough to cover your head. When you get human hair that's much longer, it'll come by the same weight in a pack of hair. So you'll get like 24-inch extensions, and you're going to have about enough width of hair to cover like 10 dreads, and it's going to just make you mad, and it's way more expensive. I recommend this, 14 inches. It'll get you past your awkward phase, and it's affordable, and one pack should be enough to cover your head. 2 packs will work too. Now, I get my hair at hisandher.com now. They have really good sale hair that's about $30 a pack. Human hair is very expensive. It can range anywhere from $30 a pack, from like the ultimate cheapest of the cheap, up to $200 a pack or more. So, human hair is expensive. Hisandher.com is a good website, US based, and I'll link it below. I love them, great customer service. And that's where I buy my hair, but it's expensive. I can't really think of another drawback of it other than maybe some ethical things with how they acquire the hair, but I don't think about that too much. Pros of using human hair is that it will texturize just like your own hair. Over time it will begin to lock like human hair does lock, and it will probably always match the way your hair texture looks, at least to a fair amount. It'll always look nice. When I had my human hair extensions in, you couldn't tell the difference. When my synthetic hair, you could tell the difference because they were a completely different color. They were rainbow. But the human hair ones will probably tighten and mature a lot more similarly to a normal dread than synthetic hair will. Synthetic hair, you'll dread it, you'll make it look all natural and cool looking, and it's probably just going to look like that forever. It doesn't really mature like human hair does. And yeah, you can, in most cases, you can bleach, dye, and color these because they are human hair. So do a test patch and make sure that your pack can actually do that. Sometimes they're too chemically treated to do that, but I've colored some before. So yeah, human hair and synthetic hair have pros and cons. Synthetic hair you can get on ikickshins.com or .net. I'll put that down there too. So yeah, let's see. And what tools do you need to put in extensions? Well, my friend, you need your hands and you need a good crochet hook. This crochet hook I have here is 1.5 millimeters. That's too big. Don't use 1.5. I know you'll buy one for $2 at Walmart because it's real cheap and you'll use it and you're like, this works okay, I'm going to keep using it. Nonsense, what other people say. Not true. I said the same thing. And then I went out and I bought my first clover crochet hook for about $8. I love this song. Sorry, I'm distracted. But I used this 0.9mm crochet hook that I bought for a little more money. The difference was night and day. It really made a big difference. My favorite size of crochet hook is about 0.6, but that's for maintenance. For putting in extensions, you're going to want something about 0.8 to 1.0 millimeters in size of your crochet hook. And basically, I think I've covered it. I've covered when you can put your extensions in, the type of hair you should use, the techniques you can use, the types of hair, coloring them, and just so you know, you can shower with your dread extensions in, no problem. They're just like normal dreads. Synthetic hair might be heavier and weigh you down a bit more, but it's just the same, and once they're securely installed, they're gonna sit just like normal hair, normal dreads, natural, what kind of dreads? They're gonna sit just like the dreads that are gonna grow off your own head. And I have a final opinion. It's just a personal opinion that I hold about dread extensions. And my opinion here is that dread extensions shouldn't really be used to get butt-length dreads all of a sudden. I think if you go from having short dreads to having dreads to your butt, 1, you're going to get headaches from the weight, 2, you might get a little too much tension on your scalp from the weight, and 3, it's just kind of silly to put that much fake hair in your head, and expensive, or heavy if you use synthetic hair, which is cheap. So, while you can do that, I'm under the opinion that you should use extensions to get yourself from the short, goofy phase to a more manageable phase. From the stick up all over your head to the I can put this in a ponytail right now phase. I don't think extensions should be for, like, I want dreads to my tits or my butt. You know, like, that's just not what I think they should be for. And whenever I've put them in, they've only been just long enough to get them to my shoulders where my dreads were a little bit more manageable and stylable. So, yeah, you feel free to do whatever you like to do with your hair. I mean, it's your hair after all, and I'm not going to have to deal with the consequences of what you do to your hair, good or bad. So, choose what you like. Take this information with a grain of salt because it's my opinions and my experience. Yeah, enjoy your extensions if you choose to make them. They're really great. They can eventually be removed or cut off, and they help you feel a little more confident if you're not confident with the really short dreads. But you do have to learn to love your baby dreads for a few months before you put them in, regardless of your hair texture. Okay, so I think I've covered the bases. Now, if you have any questions about dread extensions, ask down here. Oh, one more thing. Salons putting in extensions is going to be way freaking expensive. It takes hours and hours and hours to make dread extensions, and if I were to charge $10 an hour, it would probably cost you $200 just to make them and another $100 to install them. $300 is probably a reasonable salon price to put in extensions. And you don't want to pay that, so do it yourself, baby. Do it yourself. Alright, so ask questions below. You can inbox me if you need any extra help, and I'm here for you. I've made so many goddamn extensions in so many different ways that I feel experienced enough to give advice to people. So ask away, extend away, and have a nice day. Bye, guys.